go to a station, if there are supplies, look for your teacher's name on it, and that's the one that you'll use, and you can follow the directions with that. So the balloon squeeze was station 1, and then station 2 goes to our obstacle course. And this is the same on both playgrounds, this one. And there's step-by-step instructions for how to run through the obstacle course. And then we also added extra time and harder option too. There's also a map.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say there's also a map on the next page. So this is kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. The students will run kind of zigzag through hula hoops, and then they'll belly crawl under like a pool noodle tunnel on the ground. And then there'll be some hurdles that they'll have to jump over. And you'll see on the left side of the map, there's instructions for what each kind of part of the obstacle course should look like. And I suggested in the instructions on the obstacle course instructions that one of the parents maybe kind of run through it so that the kids can see it first before you start it. The idea for the obstacle course is to have 2 teams again, so that if you have, you can split your class into half and then have them kind of race each other through the obstacle course. If you have extra time, we said you could time them. You could use your stopwatch on your phone and time them so you can get through it faster. You can change it up a little after you run it through, once or twice, but that kind of gives you an idea. After the hurdles, I believe they're supposed to do some jumping jacks, I want to say, if I remember correctly. And then there's a balance beam, and then a somersault before they go to the finish line. And that kind of gives you an idea of, and the obstacle course is the same on both playgrounds, but I think we're going to try and kind of stretch it out a little bit more for the bigger kids. And some of the items in the younger on the K ground will be a little, not as high, and a little easier for them too. I think that's it for station 2. Anything, Gemma, that I'm missing? Or
no, just one thing I want to add is at each, like before they start, are you going to want to talk about the lanyards?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, we should probably start with that. Thank you. Like at the very beginning, that's true. So when you get to your playground, so you can go directly to either the K ground or the intermediate playground, we will have your class lanyards, and this is what all the kids will be wearing. It'll be a red lanyard with their activity card that'll be attached to it. And the goal of field day for them will be to get all 6 activities punched on their activity card as they go through the day. So once you come to like a supply table, which is on the map that we also sent out, you will get an envelope full of your lanyards. And when you meet the class, you can hand out the lanyards to the kids before you start your first station. And then at the end of that station, right where you are, there'll be a hole punch, and you can punch, or one of the parents can punch that activity to show that they completed station, whatever you were at, station 3 or station 2, and before you move on to the next one. And then the idea would be by the end of all 6 stations, before the kids return back to their classroom, they'll pick up their class treat for completing all the stations. So that's kind of the lanyard portion of it. So thanks for reminding me about that too. And I wrote that in the email too. So if that's not clear, just, let me know. And then station 3 is this spoon relay. This is also the same on both. This is trying to balance a marshmallow over one of the really big oversized marshmallows on a plastic spoon. And it's just a relay race against the other, the other group or the other team within your group. And we have also like a extra time variation and harder ideas too. One big thing with that I saw, I kind of was thinking about, was just to remind them to not mess with their marshmallow while they're waiting in line, keep their hands off of it, which might be hard. So you may want to wait to hand those out until they start to run again, kind of like the balloons. But that might also, they might just be, it might be inevitable that they're going to mess with them.
Do we have extra marshmallows at every station?
Yeah, so, well, we bagged them. So this is another station where you'll find your teacher's name with the spoons and the marshmallows. I don't think we put extra marshmallows in, but we'll have them at the supply table. So if anyone did need more, we do have extra for sure.
We have a lot extra.
We do, yeah. We kind of went a little crazy with them.
I can see that being like a really big temptation for kids.
Right.
Like,
we were talking about this.
Like waiting to get, to do it.
Right. I know. That's what we were kind of mentioning when we were bagging these the other day. So yeah, and so that's that one, and that's the same on both playgrounds. And then, okay, then the next station is the freeze dance and limbo. So this is the kind of the musical station. We have two different activities. You could start with the freeze dance and then do the limbo first, or vice versa. What we will have there is Mrs. Boyer's lending us two Bluetooth speakers, one for each playground, because this is the same on both sides. And we're also getting an iPad from the school. And so they're going to help us put a saved playlist on there, so that when you come up to the station and you're ready to start the music, you should be able to just play it and get that going for the kids. The freeze dance is, just get them kind of spread out and start dancing. And then as soon as you stop the music, they should be frozen. If not, they have to sit down, that kind of game. And then limbo will have a pole that two parents will need to hold, so that the kids can kind of dance under it. And I mentioned that you might need to show them that they actually have to kind of try and bend backwards to get under it as you lower it. So you might have to kind of explain that to some of the, maybe especially the younger kids might not understand that. But and then we did mention, sanitizing the pole before leaving. Once again, and we do remind you in the cleanup section, like, don't forget to punch the activity cards before you move. Yeah, and I think that's it for that one. Let's see. The next one is the bottle flip relay. This is a relay where we'll have a table set up, and each student will get a water bottle. And there's a little bit of setup with this one. We will have some Sharpie markers there, so that when you do get to that station, the parents can just initial or somehow write the names on the bottles of each student. And then they will line up, and the object is to flip their water bottle upside down before running to the finish line. We did say, Gemma, right, that we want them to, it will work better with a half empty or semi-empty bottle though. So we did say before starting to, once you have their names on them, kind of have them spread out, take 5 sips of water, and then make sure the cap is tightly back on their bottle before they play the game. And then after the game is done, that water bottle they will take with them. That'll just be for them to drink if they need a drink, and to take with them. I think that's everything on that one. Gemma, let me know if I'm.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job. Go for it.
I feel like I'm trying not to take too long, but and then target toss. This is the same on both, but we just have different targets on each playground. For the little kids, we have like a bago game that they're going to be throwing their airplanes in, and they're basically going to be creating a paper airplane to try and toss into the target. I believe we said that you would use your timer for this, like a stopwatch feature for this, where you would give each team, they'd be kind of in 2 lines, tossing their airplanes into or trying to toss them into the targets, and see how many they can get into the target within 2 minutes. And then whichever team wins, that would be the winner. If they want to change up their airplanes, they can always do that while they're waiting in line. I think we also said if they have trouble making an airplane, they can make kind of any creation with the paper as well.
They can even make a ball of paper for the little kids. If they have trouble with the airplanes, don't sweat it. Just let them make a ball, throw the ball,
Yeah, yes, right. We did do like a basic instruction for airplanes in case you want to show them before they start. I mean, that's kind of part of the challenge, is for them to create something, just to give you an idea. But that's also, I mean, that's just an example. It's not something you have to do. And so that's the K-ground station. The only thing that's different on the big kid station is instead of the balloon squeeze, we're doing like a soccer game.
Yeah, you want me to I'll open that.
Sure, we could look at that. And it's set up, the games pages are set up the same. Oh, here it is. Yes. So this is station 1 on the intermediate playground. And this is a soccer game where there'll be 2 end zones, and you'll pick basically 2 cats, 1 or 2 cats, depending on how big your class is. And they are going to be in the middle of the field. And then the rest of the students will be kind of in one of the end zones lined up with a soccer ball. And the object is for them to get to the other end zone without getting caught by a cat. And the cat would catch them by kicking their ball away from them. And if they do get their ball kicked away, then they have to become a cat then. And so the object is to see who can kind of last the longest with their ball. And then we have some rules. We kind of reminded everybody about the rules of the game. And you can always play another round depending on how fast this goes and how many students you have. But that's basically the only other difference besides the other target too that we're going to have. So on this side, we have like a bucket target for the target toss. But otherwise, you'll see it set up pretty much the same way as the K ground. And we'll do the timing the same, the schedule, the time is the same. So when we blow the horn on one field, we'll be doing it on the other field at the same time too. I think that's it for the games. Gemma, if you can think of anything I've missed or let me know.
Does anyone have any questions about the games? Like now that you're kind of taking a look at them? Or part of the field day goal this year was to not make the games too complicated.
Does anyone not really use equipment either that is shared?
Yes, that was another big request from the school, was to limit the amount of equipment that's shared. So you'll see a lot of disposable items, or in the case where we don't have disposable items, we're asking the parent volunteers to wipe down, like for example, the pole, the limbo pole or whatever. So, and that of course also applies to the number of volunteers that we can have per class, and the volunteers travel with the class. And again, that's all, for, in case we need to do COVID tracing or anything like that, that we know who is with the kids at all times.
And we will have hand sanitizer at every station, and it would be a great thing if you could get the kids to wash their hands before they move on to the next station, even though we're not sharing equipment, just out of precaution, as they move to the next station, just to be clean to start would be great.
Mm-hmm. And just so that you guys know, in PE, like whenever they do PE, because most of the PE classes are done outside, have been done outside since the kids have returned to in-person. When the kids come back into the building, they always sanitize their hands. So this sanitizing of hands is not going to be something that's new to the kids. They're kind of used to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen or Matt or Tim, did you guys have a question?
I just had a quick question on the water bottle game, just so I have the visual down in my head. It starts bottle cap down, right? And then they flip it. I don't know if did it say, and I just missed it.
It didn't say. I was imagining the opposite of that, but
so like it ends on the
but I would think you could do it either way though, right, Gemma?
It's
I
just,
think, don't they just throw it? Don't they just
I think except for the very little kids, I think almost all kids know this game already. So they probably know it better than us. If you say bottle flipping game, they will go at it. So maybe not the kindergartners or first graders. I mean, maybe they might, I don't know, but I think most kids probably will know. It's just you take it and you just
most of the kids I think take it by the cap and then they flip it from the cap.
Yeah, I think you're holding the cap. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I get it. So you're holding the water bottle and then you flip it, and if it lands upright on the table, I'm assuming, then it counts.
Right.
Yes,
exactly. I was like, this seems really hard. I don't know if I was making it way more complicated. Got it.
Yeah.
And are we having we're having regularly sized water bottles?
Right. Regular.
We're not
size.
doing the minis, because the minis are a little easier to bottle flip. We're doing regular size. But they're right. Like it is easier if it's not full. Like,
yes, because it makes the liquid shift or something. It just is easier to do if it's not completely full.
Okay, sounds good.
Do we need to do, are we, with the virtual stuff, are we having like an iPad for kids who are at home, or are they just on their own?
No, we just added that just in case. I actually created a separate virtual, like in addition to the tabs, we have like a separate virtual instruction sheet in case students want to do it from home. But you guys are just the in-person students.
Okay.
Fanny, you had a question?
Yes, Patty. Since I'm in charge of the last stations. Are the kids going to be divided, or am I going to have to wait until the class comes to my station? Or
You're
are
going
they-
to travel with the class at all points.
Yes.
Like you will be with
Oh.
your class. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, Fanny, I put on those emails. So Patty suggested that I kind of assign stations for each parent to kind of focus on. So you'll be going with them through each station. Just when you get to the ones that I put in the email, those will be the ones that you'll be kind of leading the instructions on. Does that make sense? So
Okay,
it'll be different than in the past.
all right, so I will be helping Trish. We'll be working together and all
That's
these
right.
stations.
You're working together, right? Yeah. So you guys
Got
could
it.
even switch. You don't have to do the ones that I wrote. I just did it to make it easy so that you guys, could just say, okay, I'm on 3 and 4, but you're going to be going through all the stations, if that
Got
makes sense.
Yeah.
If not, let me know.
No, that's so much better than I
Okay.
thought. Perfect.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's just you're the one doing the instructions. And so in the activities where, like, for example, like you should be giving an example, like maybe you want the other parent volunteer to do the
Mhm.
example while the person who's in charge of it is running through the instructions. So maybe you should have Trisha, hey Trisha, go through the obstacle course, or go under the limbo pole so they can see. Now, obviously, the teacher is also going to be with you,
Mhm.
right? So should have at least 3 adults, if not 4 adults. A lot of our classes that end up getting 3. And for those of you that we don't have 3 volunteers, we're trying to figure out how to get 3 volunteers at every class. So, but yes, we do need the other parent volunteers to kind of help. Obviously, with like the hole punching, or just in general, like making sure that the kids are doing things correctly, making sure that after they inevitably drop the marshmallow, that they're picking it up and not putting it in their mouth and things like that. Other questions?
And there will be garbage cans at every station. So if you have disposable items, not like the balloons, obviously are going to probably go back in the bag, but if the marshmallows and the plastic spoons, they all can go in the garbage can when you're done. So
Mhm.
they're not taking the marshmallow with them and chewing on them at the next station, that kind of situation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I do think if we do get into like really, really warm weather, the kids may also be bringing out like their own water bottles, which is something that they do right now for PE. So most of the in-person kids, or pretty much all the in-person kids, when they come up for PE, they're bringing their own water bottle too. So, and they're like just kind of leaving it on the grass as they kind of travel from station to station. All right. Any other questions? And then the schedule, as Bridget mentioned, so it's 10 minutes for the activity itself. And then you have 4 minutes to kind of finish cleaning up, doing the punch cards, and moving to the next station. And so in total, you'll have an hour and a half of, moving, doing and moving before the kids. Now, Bridget, where will they be getting their snack, their prize, their treat?
Can you show the map, Patty?
Oh,
Because I
sure.
think we have it on
Oh,
there.
here we go.
So like just this is an example of the intermediate playground, but so we just put a supplies table right kind of in between, right next to the mobiles on that little blacktop area by the playground. So you can go there to check in and get your lanyards. And then when you're done with all the stations, we'll have this prize box for your teacher there to pick up before the kids go back inside. And then if you look at the very bottom of this map, I think it's on this one. Yes, we're also going to have a coffee and kind of water table. That is not on the K-ground map because I didn't have this part of the map on there, but I just wanted to let people know that that's where to go. It's kind of separate from everything, but on purpose, because I know Mrs. Matthews mentioned if we are eating or drinking, we should kind of spread out. So that's why we put it kind of further away from the activities. But
and then I'm just going to show the map here on
okay, yeah. So here's the
K-ground
K-ground
side.
one, right? So the supply pickup here is a kind of just like kind of near that gym door, I guess, like kind of up there. I would probably on the sidewalk up there, maybe a little closer to the blacktop than that door. And then that's all you'll pick up lanyards and then supplies. And then the station one will start kind of on the grass just off the blacktop there is the balloon one. Just to
But
give you an
not,
idea.
just to point out, like not everyone's starting at station one, right? So you got to follow your
Right. And
schedule. Some of you may
yes,
be starting at
exactly.
station, like 3. Scanlon starts at station 3 at 8:30.
Right.
And all of the times have been um, worked so that they don't interfere with the lunch hour for the kids. Some of them will be going, like second grade, I think goes into lunch maybe right after their field day activities, but we shouldn't have interference with their lunchtime schedule. Any other questions about either the activities or, like I said, I think maybe with the planes, obviously the older kids are going to be a little bit more adept at the planes. And for the younger kids, we do want all the kids to try to make the paper plane. But you know how sometimes that can get frustrating and sometimes you're just going to end up with a ball and that's okay. You know, we just want everyone to have fun. And so we don't, we want everyone to try everything, right? Without necessarily getting like super frustrated with the activity. Are there any other questions about, oh, there was something in the chat. Okay, quick question on the water. All right, any other questions on the game or the schedule? There was a question at the in the PTO meeting about the about parking. So because, as you can see from the maps, like we're going to be using like all the fields, for example, in the intermediate area, in the intermediate playground area, and then also as much of the K ground as we can. So we won't have the field for parking. And that's really because we do want to spread, kids out, as much as we can. So you'll have to park, on the Grove side, like down Grove or on Illinois or up Grove or on Summit. And so just as you guys are thinking about, what time should I be arriving before my, my time slot, consider that you're probably going to be walking a couple blocks to the school. So just kind of keep that in mind as you guys are, thinking about that day and coming in that day. And then the other thing is everyone will be wearing masks. So that's kind of, the district and in the school, and even during PE, the kids are wearing masks. And so we expect our volunteers to be wearing masks as well, right? That's a requirement that the district has of us for our parent volunteers is that we do masks. Now, I can't remember. I don't think we're having any of the parents do temperature checks, right? Because we are going to be outside.
Yeah, I
But
didn't hear that. Yeah.
yeah, but I think we are all going to be wearing masks. However, if for some reason like you need to go inside the building, like let's say you need to use the restroom or something like that, then you have to go through the office and the office will take your temperature.
So Patty, they don't need to check in at the office and do COVID like this.
I don't think so. I mean, we can get some clarification from Ms. Matthews and, blast everyone if that's different. But I think because we're just doing the outside check-in that we don't need to. But like I said, I know if you do enter the building, we definitely want you to be, to go through the office and they will take your temperature there. But yeah,
I was actually wondering
let's get some clarification on that.
Yeah. I was planning on sending our volunteer list to Vicky and just kind of asking what we needed to do. So
that's a great idea.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you all. Like this is like, we were totally not sure that this was going to happen at all this year. And then we got word that it was going to happen and then, how we could get it done. And, hopefully everything stays on track for us to have it on Friday, the day after the big event. So the kids will have like, a couple days of like very high activity, events. And so that'll be really fun for the kids to like kind of get out and doing stuff for a couple days in a row. And you'll notice that we don't have like an eating station like we had in previous years where we usually do like popcorn or something. And that's obviously because of all the restrictions. They will be getting some smart popcorn at the end. And then we'll kind of leave it up to the teachers as to coordinate like when they can go ahead and eat that. But and then like a little couple other things for the kids. So I do want to thank Gemma and Bridget, you know, who like we keep asking them to change stuff because of like new information that we learn, and then you know they're also preparing kits for our remote kids, you know who are not going to be participating in person but want to do stuff at home, and so there's certainly a lot to juggle in this year's field day, and I want to thank Gemma and Bridget for doing a fantastic job kind of riding the wave of all the different things that have been going on. And like we said, all the elementary schools are planning on having their field day on the same day. And that's because, you know, there are some students, a small number of students that kind of share teachers with other schools. And so that's to kind of coordinate everything so that everyone's kind of doing it on the same day and that those teachers have the expectations like today is field day, so my kids will be participating, my students will be participating in field day activities. So that was kind of the plan as to why we tried to schedule them all on the same day. So that's the deal. I actually started recording a little bit late here, Bridget. So I'm going to send you like a recording of it if somebody like wants to see it. In fact, Kristen, I might ask you to post the recording on our PTO YouTube page just so that it's easier to view. And then that way, if Bridget and Gemma want to send this out to, you know, parents who weren't able to make the meeting, they can always like watch the video if they had questions about any of the activities.
Sure, no problem. Just email it over when you download it.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. It's, you know, nothing we do is possible without our parent volunteers. And so thank you guys so much for stepping up. Like, you know, this is it. This is the end of the year. Like, let's do this.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And thank you all for the effort you take in putting all this together. I know it must take a lot of time, and so that is very much appreciated. And so I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you so much, ladies. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Manny.
See you all on Friday.
Bye.